Today, we've come back up to Litchfield and I've been given this enormous key to this wonderful looking M5. Now normally, the F90 M5 has 600 horsepower, 550 odd foot-pounds of torque. This car has a stage 1 kit on it from Litchfield and it has 720 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque. 4-wheel drive package on these wet December roads. I cannot wait to go and have a go. I haven't had a go in it yet. Let's go and have a drive. Right then, we're now out in the F90 M5 that has been fettled and played with by, again, the masters that are Litchfield. Litchfield have just sort of breathed on this car. What they've done is they've given it 720 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque, which is just a stage 1 tuning kit for an M5. They've left everything else as it should be, and this car is just a getting things done car. If you needed to, it's 3:15 in the afternoon, if someone said to me now, right, I need you to go to Edinburgh and I need you to get there as quickly as possible, this is the car you'd take. It's fast, it's comfortable, it has every toy under the sun. The front end, the grip, the way it turns in is absolutely magnificent. It feels so much smaller than it actually probably is, which, BMW are extremely good at these days and masking the bulk of these cars. This has all of the adjustability that you have in all of the BMWs at the moment. So you can change on the M1 and the M2 buttons on the steering wheel. You can, change the ferocity of the shifts on the 8-speed ZF gearbox, the same as in the X6M. And it works beautifully. I haven't caught it out at all. It's quick, it's sharp when you want it to be, when you're in the M2 modes or however you dial in the M1. It's fantastic. Switches twin to this 4.4 litre V8 up front. It is an incredible machine, and I'm so impressed with it. It's alarming. Now, obviously, the last video that I did was a BMW and an M product. The cockpit feels very similar. You've got big screens, you've got all of the screens in front of you, which actually in this, the dials, I think I prefer the dials in this car to the new generation X6M and the 440i. I love the bezel around it. It sort of feels like an expensive watch to me. I quite like that. That looks really, really pretty. And it's what you look at the whole time. It doesn't tell you much more on there. It's all on the satellite navigation screen instead in this car. The steering wheel, exactly the same as the X6M and the 440i that I drove recently. Lovely, thick BMW M steering wheel, always a lovely thing to hold. And they just feel purposeful. They feel expensive and you grab hold of them. They feel manly. The paddles, all the same in BMs at the moment, sort of have this aluminium cover on them and then plastic on the back. But there's a little bit of knurling that you can sort of fit your fingers in there, and they're quite tactile and lovely. The lighting in here, there's a purple hue at the moment, but I think you can change that in here to basically any colour in the rainbow. BMW have really upped their game with the interiors on their cars. The seats are extremely comfortable. All of the materials feel very expensive. It's quiet in here. There's dual climate control, front and rear. There's, the seats massage you. The whole thing is a very, very impressive car in everything that it does, because it's very, very clever that this car would massage your brow half of the time, and then if you want to, you can even put it in 2-wheel drive, so you can put it in rear-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive most of the time. You go in there, turn off the traction control, and I imagine this car is an absolute hooligan, because even with the 4-wheel drive, it feels like it wants to spool up the whole time. When you accelerate hard, all 4 wheels start to spin. It's insane. And I know that the original, the bog standard base model car of an M5, not the competition, still has plenty of power. With the competition, you get, firmer springs and dampers and all of that, and you get 17 horsepower more than the normal one. This car, you go to Litchfield and they will give you 120 horsepower more and 100 Newton meters of torque more. It is an absolute monster. It really is. But it's obtainable speed. I feel like this could be driven by someone that wasn't necessarily that good at driving, but the four-wheel drive system and all that, if you leave all the toys on and you just play around with the M buttons and you can put it in individual mode, etc., then I think you're never going to stick one of these in the ditch unless you are going at vast speeds, which is extremely easy in this car. The brakes are very strong, but they do feel quite heavily servo assisted at the top of the pedal, so there's not a lot of feel at the top of the pedal. The throttle, you can change the throttle response in all of the menus and things like that when you want to. I like it in comfort mode. Comfort mode is really, really nice, and you know, there's a little bit of travel at the top of the pedal before a lot happens, and then if you stamp the throttle, the thing just pisses off into the distance. It's insane. I mean, it is mad. It's an overtaking like machine. It's insane. You need the smallest little gap to just open up and bang, gone. And the person you've overtaken would never even know you were there. Overtaking, and we're past him. It's like the smallest gap and you're gone. All of the infotainment system is all typically BMW. If you've used any of the iDrive systems in any of them at the moment, you'll know what you're doing. It's quite intuitive, it works really nicely. The sound system's insanely good in the Harman Kardon one that we've got in this car. You know, the 4 seats, there's loads of room in the back. I've got my drone guy in the back over here at the moment, and he is 6 foot a lot, and he fits in there beautifully. There is loads of boot space. We've got all our camera kit in the boot space, and there is loads remaining. You could genuinely use this on a daily basis to do anything you needed to do. Sure, to put dogs in it, I suppose, but other than that, there is nothing this car can't do. BMW are really on the money at the moment, and this four-wheel drive system, as I say, and the way this car drives and front end, and just the adjustability of this car, you know, the way it feels going round corners, the way it feels going fast. You can feel yourself getting a little bit excited and going too fast, so you just rein it in a little bit. But the car, you know, it doesn't feel knife edge because it's a big car and you feel like you'd feel it go quite quickly, but you'd be going so quickly that it would be, you know, it would be quite terrifying, I imagine. Miles per gallon, I think it's saying to me at the moment I'm getting 19.3 out of it, which actually for a car like this I'm quite impressed, and with the fact that it has 750 horsepower and does 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye is very, very impressive. But I imagine if you get a little bit excited with your right foot, you're going to be looking at low teens to single digits, I imagine, but who knows. I haven't had the car for long enough. I've only had it for a day. The stage 1 kit on these F90 M5s that Litchfield do are amazing. I mean, it's a plug and play and you get 120 horsepower more. It's well worth having a look at one of those as well. Now, everyone's sort of gone on about this. When this M5 first came out, they went on about how it didn't look enough like an M5, it didn't look enough like an M car. I think that's sort of the point of an M5, isn't it? The point of an M5 is that you could debadge it, and the only thing that shows that is an M car are the 4 exhausts. So your MD of a company that doesn't want to show off to all his staff can go and buy one of these and turn up, and if someone knows, they know. But if they don't know, his secretary might not cotton on that he's just gone out and bought a 100 grand car. I kind of like that. I think that's sort of the point of this car. But yeah, I think it looks great. The sound, it sounds wicked. This 4.4 litre V8 is absolutely monstrous, and it sounds brilliant. I think the last one sounded brilliant. I think this one sounds brilliant. I love it. It sounds great. This car, the spec on it, it's got all of the toys. It's got everything on it. Ian Litchfield actually uses this as his daily runaround. This is his car. He uses it as the family whip, if you like. He takes the kids in it, the wife in it, and this is used as a daily vehicle. And I can see why. I mean, I love a big, fast estate car, but if I didn't have dogs, it is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I mean, the matte grey paint is pretty out there, but if you didn't have the matte grey paint and you had it in silver or black or just normal grey, it's not particularly shouty. Sounds amazing. The bangs and pops on the downshifts sound wicked when you're, you know, when you're hard on the brakes and you're going down through the gears. They sound mega. Just a super usable. You could do 100,000 miles in it. I mean, admittedly, new 100 grand car, isn't it, really? This car, I believe, is for sale now. So if you go on to Litchfield Imports, you can actually have a look at buying this car, and it is fabulous. It is magnificently spec'd. And if you like the matte paint, go and have a look and get it. Bloody hell, this thing, honestly, I cannot tell you how fast it is. It is, we got old aerial perspective services in the back, and it is, as he just said, ridiculous. Does it feel faster in the back?